Hugo.
Hey, guys. How's everyone doing?
Good.
L-E-E-L-Y, lovely.
Good. I missed you guys.
Yes. Shout out to our experienced family. We've missed you so much. So, hey to all of you out there. Uh-oh, Tay. You good, Tay? Tay getting her life together. So
She said, put your hands where my eyes can see.
So how's everyone been since the last time we've been on?
Good.
Very
Prospering and just doing okay.
How's summer been? How's summer been treating y'all? Y'all been out and about? Yeah. Wait, that's that. Can't even tell you about it.
Not that serious, but yes, I've actually came back from vacation, actually went places, actually did things. You know what I mean? Like I'm carpe diem right now. I'm just gonna do it, and we're gonna just do it. Like we got to. You know what I'm saying?
What about you, Doctor? How was that going?
Summer was great. It was business, but I got the opportunity to go some places, see some things, meet new people, and also do some transitioning professionally. So I'm in a.
I was about to say you're gonna have to explain what transition.
Yeah, transitioning professionally. So I'm in a lovely space.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
What about you, Tay?
I've been busy, y'all. It's the end of fiscal year for my 9 to 5. So I've been really, really busy. And maintaining my mental health by working out continuously. I'm literally fresh off the bridge right now. So, but yeah, I've been good. Really busy and just staying active, just making sure I'm plugged in and I got me taken care of.
Nice. Okay. Well, for myself, it's been a good summer. Lots of traveling, lots of relaxing. So, yay! And it was hot. It's been so hot. It has not made sense. I need to live my life right because I don't want to go to hell. It's really bad.
I say that all the time. I'm like, Lord God, I can't.
That's not my part of your.
Now,
that's not part of your ministry, huh? The heat is not part of your ministry. I
said, let me join the what do you call that welcome service that they have at church or something because
not part
the way my soul's set up, it's not gonna make it. Not gonna make it. And I heard there's no ice cubes allowed in hell. But yeah, so today we wanted to talk about 50 years of hip hop, but more importantly, the impact that women had in hip hop. I think so many times, especially as Black women, we are. I mean, it's like there's stats, there's surveys, there's experience in life where it's just like we are last mentioned, and we're carrying it together, and we have to be strong and beautiful and smart and all this other stuff, and we make impacts in all areas, like in the home, outside the home, in the streets. Why wouldn't we make an impact in hip hop, right? What is birthed in this world that does not include a woman?
Absolutely.
I'll wait while y'all try to think about that. Right? So how beautiful is it to be a part of 50 years of hip hop? So just a little insight on me. I listen to how can I put it nicely? PWM, predominantly white music, until I went to a friend's party in elementary school. I don't know what her uncle did, but he put that music on, and I was like, and let me go ahead and shut this white station down. I don't want to hear not another blues, guitar, or electric guitar in my life. It was just, I was literally sneaking because, some of it my mom didn't want me to listen to. But I was literally sneaking to listen to it. And then I grew up around my cousins, and I found out my cousins was listening too. You could not take me back to rock music. I was just in love with hip hop. The beat, the way it made me feel. How if I got real close to the speakers, it was like in my chest, like It is just, what is that? Brown Sugar. When did you fall in love with hip
Yeah.
hop?
Yep.
Mhm.
I fell in love with hip hop, and hip hop ain't never did me right.
Yep.
So the reason why we're here today, I'm gonna pass it over to Miss Communication because she's the one who lit the fire under this topic for us.
Yes.
She's gonna get us rolling, and we'd love to hear your input and your way in because everyone has had some sort of experience with hip hop. So
Well, I mean, hip hop. I actually was born in the Bronx, and in fact, I was literally like 1520 Cedric Avenue was where hip hop was actually born on August 11th of 50 years ago, 1973. I actually lived at 1750, which is like right down the block from there. I mean, I'm not 50 years old, so I was definitely not around at that time, but the impact of that, moment, as they would say, moment was, definitely felt in our neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, but it was one of those things where it was just a couple of kids having a party at a community center where they were like, girls were getting in for 25 cents, guys were getting in for 50 cents. It wasn't trying to change the world. It was literally these kids decided they wanted to have a party and they had a DJ and started doing this thing. And it now is this big, humongous thing where there's hip hop everywhere. Every single, like, there's hip hop is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's in
can I pause you for like 2 seconds?
yeah.
Globally.
I just want to. So Jamal definitely will address this because it's not a quick answer. So give us a second, but I'll definitely. When I tell you definitely, we coming back just to this. So go ahead. Sorry.
But it's like it's the funny thing about like it's not just in it's on commercials. It's in it's on our bodies. It's our food. It's hip hop is a culture, not just a music, right?
Right.
So you have that thing where people from all over the world will copy that. And it
Yeah.
all started in this little community room that looks exactly the same. It has not changed. 1520. They did not renovate it or anything. It looks exactly the same as when they had these parties, these regular smuggler kids coming out there to just have a good time. And it's like it's one of the few genres where it talks about the struggle, right? So it's street music essentially. It's the struggle. It talks about, it started with talking about poverty and trying to, get on, but it wasn't about the money at the time. It was just trying to tell your story.
Yeah.
And storytelling, I think that is as old as time, right? So you got people will write on the walls, or you got the graffiti. Like in New York City, literally the trains would be covered in graffiti.
Oh yeah. No cleaning.
No, graffiti everywhere. If you had a cardboard box and you knew how to do the worm or whatever the case may be, you had this was like a grind. This was like literally
Yeah, hip hop is literally a lifestyle. The way you dress, the way even the way you walk. It sounds crazy, but even
it's
the way you walk,
grassroots, right? It's
right?
grassroots. But think about it. Like, I mean, there's different types of hip hop. There's hip hop all over the world. The South got hip hop, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all got the dirty South. Let's be clear.
Not the same like New York.
I know it's not, but that's not the point. The point that nothing is like New York, but the same time you got the down South. You know what I'm saying? You got the Midwest. You got Midwest hip hop. You got West Coast hip hop. You got an East Coast. You have all of those things, and together, that's a thing that's crazy because at the end of the day, think about it. It was created by young Black people, a genre, a culture that was able to get to 50 years, where it is literally
not without struggle.
Oh, everything goes with struggle, though. You think about it. Every single thing in life has a struggle, but it's the idea that my mother and father know who Jay-Z is. My 83-year-old father, if I say, oh yeah, if I play a song, he'll be like, oh, that's Jay-Z. What do you know about Jay-Z? But that's the point, right? The point is, it's that thing. It's that thing. Now, as far as the women's situation, where do I begin? Like,
well, before you get there, Tay, Dr. Royal, do you want to talk about your experience with hip hop?
Oh, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was going to say, growing up in a rural area, like my family has loved music, so I'm rooted in R&B and soul and stuff like that, right? When I was younger, I did listen to a lot of PWM, um, but it was because of the fact that I wasn't under my parents' roof at the time, which is a whole nother story. But because I attended a private school. Okay, let me keep elaborating before I do that.
Too.
Okay, so because of that influence, the very beginning was PWN.
Mm-hmm.
My introduction to my recollection, and I might be missing something, but to my recollection, my introduction to hip hop was breaking. Breaking came out in 1984. If y'all don't know about Shavadu and all, oh god. Anywho, if you don't know about breaking, young people, older people, go back and check those, those old school movies out. They are still golden to this day.
Yes.
But that was my introduction to hip hop, and from that movie, that's when I started. And I'm gonna stop in a second because I'm gonna let miscommunication lead in just a second. But like in 1984, when that movie came out, that was the introduction. Then I remember hearing LL, and then
Whew.
shortly after that
Mhm.
is when Salt and Pepper dropped their showstopper. Anyway, so that's gonna be
You
my
have you
segue.
have flashbacks over here.
That's gonna be my segue because when Salt and Pepper came out, I was in a 4-H. I participated in 4-H, and me and my girlfriend did the talent show, and we used Tramp from that very album. Tramp.
Call me a trip. What you call
Listen,
me? Yeah.
yes. So that's my
Look at that.
introduction to hip hop. Go ahead, Tay. I'm sorry, but
Beautiful, beautiful. No, I like that. Okay, so I'm a little jealous. So mine was more so like it was an indirect introduction. So
okay.
I was very young. Y'all don't judge me. But but I hung out with my sister, my older sister, and her friends a lot, right? Like they were my friends. Her friends were my friends, even though I was 3 years and 4 years younger than them. But so I was just kind of always around. And my first concert was, and I'll
And
say
I
that was
did.
my first real introduction to hip hop because like I had heard it on the radio. Because okay, let me start with I grew up listening to like gospel and R&B, real
Hmm.
low key, laid back. But my introduction to hip hop came around. I was like 10, maybe. I was real young, y'all.
Mhm.
It's
But
okay.
I was
You
at
just
the
got an
Biggie
earlier start.
concert. Listen, but I mean, it is a story to tell because I was at the Biggie concert. I had no idea what it was
You
then
were
at
at
the
a
moment.
Biggie concert?
I was at Jam Fest 6. It was in 1996. I know
Wow.
I was young. Don't talk about my
Mm.
stepmama. But but it was a once in a lifetime experience. I remember Total being there. I remember
Hmm.
Mafia,
They
Lil
just
Kim.
busted you into hip hop.
Yeah, I mean, it was like here you go, and I was like, okay, what is this? And my favorite song
Mhm.
was "Can't You See" by Total and
Ooh, I
Biggie, and
love
I was
that
like, that
song.
was
Yes.
my shit. And
Yep.
so that was to me, that was like when I actually fell in love with it and actually really start listening to what else was out there. I was like, like music can't get no better at that
Ooh.
era. To me, that's how and I was young. I was so young, but yeah, so I
90s
would
hip
say that was
hop.
a good introduction.
90s hip
It's,
hop
yeah.
is a chef's kiss, man.
Like
I don't care what nobody
we
said.
Learn-
can't
90s hip hop is a
recreate it.
chef's
Yeah,
kiss.
So
yeah.
this comment right here, and learned every dang dance move Salt and Pepper had.
As you
Absolutely.
should, as
Just
you
so we
should.
weren't scared to sweat. Nobody's worried about edges. We were
It's
sweating.
a workout. Yeah,
Right?
we
You
didn't
get
care
your hair
then. We
pressed,
working
you get your hair pressed, right? Because my hair's curly, so I get my hair.
Yep.
And by the time I left, that press was out. It'd be like up and curly, but it didn't matter because I would literally
and having
leave,
fun.
right? And that's when like you would sing along,
Yeah,
and for a
Knew the
second
lyric.
you pretend that story related to you, and it.
yeah.
And it
Funny,
did.
listen. Funny enough. It's like there was a time when hip hop changed, right? So there's that change, that actual like bridge from where it started and where it happened, and it literally was that ghetto fabulousness. that party, like that party energy, like Biggie and them when they got dressed all the way up, like to the nines. You put on
Look
pairs.
at us. Look, we just doing the podcast. Look, we came with the glasses.
I got on my, my bamboos, you know.
At least two pair.
No, but it's like that part, right? So it's like, but see, the thing about it is that when I was growing up, LL and all them, they used to hang out on the Ave.
Yeah, come on. You know, we used to come from school. He's sitting on his car playing his own music.
You literally see them. You would literally go, like they had a couple of record stores on the Ave, and they would actually have, like, you know, the artists would come.
The Ave is in Queens, New York.
Yeah, Jamaica Avenue. Hey. So they used to literally have like people come out there. I remember going to the city when Nas dropped his album. You know what I'm saying? When Nas dropped his album, like there was like these things where these artists were not far from us.
Yeah, they were within reach.
Mm-hmm. It was just right. They were easy to reach. You were easy to talk to.
But that's because hip hop is about the community, right?
Man, listen,
that street. So
hate me now. That video, I know exactly where that video was filmed, because that day I was trying to sneak out the house to go see what was all going on, because this is before social media. This is before cell phones. This is before all that stuff. But trust me, we heard that Puffy and Nas was over there at the bodega on Linden Boulevard filming a video. So it was like, oh, they filming a video. It's that.
And could not leave the house because that.
My mother and father was like, "Yeah, you're not going anywhere. Go sit down somewhere." So
sit your tail somewhere. But I think, for me, and then we could kind of roll into the documentary.
Yeah.
So I grew up as a tomboy, like hardcore, running with my cousins, whatever. And I think when I saw Queen Latifah, I felt like I could relate to her, like that. Who you calling up? You know what I mean? Like it just, I could really relate to her, like the things that she sang about and how she's always trying to do, like unifying people. And that's when all of the African, wear started coming out. But it was just like the package may have been hip hop, but the message was deep. And I think for when she started coming out, I actually started listening to the stuff she was saying. Not to say I didn't listen to everybody else's, but that was more of the message. That and KRS-One, which I think KRS-One went over my head multiple times. But I was just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in school with a beat. But that was that. So I wanted to get into the fact that we've seen hip hop a very male dominated genre.
Yes.
Right? We've mentioned Biggie. I said KRS-One. We said Puffy. We said Nas. We could go on and on and on, but the struggle for the women of hip hop seems to be still something that they deal with.
Absolutely.
Something that won't change overnight, but has changed. And I know this documentary on Netflix, shout out to Netflix for doing that.
Absolutely.
Talking about the ladies of hip hop, and I know it caught Miscommunication's eye, which a lot, opened it up for the rest of us as well. So, do you want to start the ball rolling, Miscommunication, on some of the things they addressed? And
I mean, when they started talking about like the very first MC, the very first MC in 1979 was the first woman MC to be recorded. She was with the Funky 4+1, and that was my girl Sha Rock. Now think about it. You young, like from the Bronx. You young. She said I wasn't thinking about money or anything. I just was like, I was having a good time. I was having, saying whatever I'm saying. But here's the thing. Even at that beginning, that little part, just that beginning, the fact that's because that actually sometimes you need somebody to step forth. Right. And be a pioneer so that you could do it, right? So you think that, now you say, oh, well, she did it, now I can do it. The things that happened, it's like we have this thing about our community that I appreciate, and I wish there was more of it, paying homage to the ones that came before you.
Yes. Right. Club busters, right?
Right. And saying to yourself, okay, this is what this person did, let's take it further. I mean, there's so many different things. Roxanne Shante, and then there's MC Lyte. MC Lyte was the first woman rapper to release a full solo album in 1988. So it
So
took a little while to get there, but
Well,
think about that.
what happened?
no, I just wanted to, because what you ain't gonna do is just shout out the fact that Shyrock represents the Bronx, because she does. But before then, she was
She was
right
in
here
Wilmington,
in
North
North
Carolina.
Carolina.
Okay,
So
we'll
let's
say
be
that
clear.
then. Say
Shout out
that
to
then.
Shyrock. Thank you, love, for representing North
Say that
Carolina
then.
and letting everybody know that it started.
Well,
She's
listen,
from
and,
North
that's the point.
Kakalaki.
And that's the point. The
Absolutely. But
point
go ahead,
is,
boo. I just want to make sure we
nah,
shout out. No,
sister, go on. And that's the point. The point is, so many people have come from one place, been transplanted to someplace else, and because of the
yes.
influence that they carry the influence of where they came from to where they ended up. And this is what I'm saying. It's like our experience is so not monolithic. You have in 1993 the first rapper to receive a gold album, first female rapper to receive a gold album was Queen Latifah.
Yep.
And she didn't have her whole body out in these streets or nothing like that. She literally
Never.
from head to toe. Right?
Yeah, she wasn't this super skinny, because that was what was in style. Like
Nah, she was a thickum. She was a tomboy. She's, she was, and now look at her. She's Oscar nominated, Tony nominated. Like, these things are big. This shows that you can start, like I said, start one place and move someplace, go to someplace else. I mean, you got the Brat, the first woman solo rapper to get a platinum album.
Right.
Nice.
Like, that's big stuff. And we're not even going, I mean, like, we could go on and on. I mean, I'm skipping people in between because,
can I interject something that was not shared on the show? And I must give my credit. Even though I don't know her personally, I know her indirectly. But shout out to the Sequence, Blondie, Angie B. Listen, let me explain. Sequence was the first, and if y'all don't know who Sequence is, they're the one that said, "We're gonna funk you right on up." Right. Okay, let me tell y'all.
Wait a minute.
Yes. So Sequence was the first female group. So they were actually before Salt and Pepper. Let's be clear.
Yep.
Okay. Now Salt and Pepper became more mainstream, if you will. They had that mainstream appeal because by that point, again, some gravel had been laid, right, by our foremothers. And so the Sequence came out in 1979 out of South Carolina. Okay, again, the South. So the other Carolina. So
we're not sleeping on the South. We just
Ever.
no, but
we're a little partial to New York. That's all.
I know. But I just want to, but I do want to make sure that we highlight those queens as well, because they were the first female hip hop group that started in 1979. But that piece wasn't highlighted, and that's cool on the show, on the actual documentary. But I didn't want to be remiss without acknowledging those queens. Yes.
Well, I wanted to address Jamal's question real quick before he's gets passed by. So do you guys feel, and I will answer to, do you guys feel that hip hop has changed in a way that we're detached from the very thing that made it so passionate and so appealing to us? Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
Jamal's question.
I'm gonna say this. Everything everything goes through changes and phases and things of that nature. What I will say about hip hop now is that I think due to social media, due to certain things that were not out there when it first started, there's a different type of thing. Like these girls, especially if we're just talking about the women, I'm gonna say the women, they monetizing this thing, they getting their dollars, they're doing the groundwork. A lot of these girls don't even have contracts. They're doing it all on their own.
Yeah, New York is coming out.
Like, I'm sorry. What you want from me? Like, this is what it
is. I was just like, I hear it.
Well, listen, Erica, if you lost yours, Pearl, come
I did not lose mine, y'all.
All right,
you go ahead and get me upset or in front of some hip hop. I'm like, yo, son, what's up?
Right, exactly. No, but it's like it's a different kind of thing now. I will say this. I feel as though sometimes when I listen to it,
so many blinks.
because it's like, no, seriously, because like there's times when I'm with my son in the car and I'm like, okay, so we just okay, all right, because somebody's gonna buy it, somebody's gonna love it, somebody's gonna think. But it's not my hip-hop, it's their hip-hop, and that's the point. It's 50 years old. If it was still the same as it was, it did not grow, it did not change. Imagine you got
hip-hop got arthritis.
Come on, no, but I'm saying, but imagine you dealing with a man you've been dealing with for a long time and he hasn't changed at all, not one bit. You would think something was wrong with him. So I feel as though hip-hop needed to change.
I agree. So I think the reason why hip-hop has changed for me personally, Black Pearl, is because I can't relate to the stories anymore. But
it's not about storytelling anymore.
It's
not about storytelling.
And that's part of what made me fall in love with hip-hop, was the storytelling, the talent, the raw talent, not just talent, the raw talent, how we believe Biggie was in a struggle that he never was in. Mm-hmm. And after he died, he was not in that struggle. I think what's happening now is just like, like, for example, they said when you're in a relationship, who you are with one person is not who you're going to be with another. I think hip hop has found another boo, and I just can't relate to that hip hop anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm being real with you, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. I agree with that, Black Pearl, because what I was thinking was more along the lines of it's evolved to the point where like it's moved with a different generation now. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like it's a different, and it means something to them differently than it meant to us when it first started, because it was new, it was fresh, we were just figuring it out. Like they were just, it just so happened to come across this sound. I just so happened to do this move. And like, now people are, oh, well, they've mastered this and they've mastered that, and they're making it their own, and they're remixing it, and they're just, diluting it so much that I think the main conversations like we're having now are the ones that keep the original, the real hip hop going, and that documentary again, thanks Netflix, because we love to see our sisters highlighted, but more so just their contribution to not only culture, not only hip hop, but to life. You know what I mean? So I think that really, it brings it full circle for us to see it out front.
And Jamal, as you make a good point.
What do you
say? You make a good point. And while you're reading that, I think for me, hip hop was about the sound, about the feeling, and then it created the visual. Now it's just all this visual more than the sound. Like, I'll give you an example, and then I'm gonna drop that right there. And I know miscommunication can agree. I was in the car and the song came on and it took me right back. I'm like, I'm ready. I was waiting because I was about to be like, oh, yeah, right. And then it was like a whole remix, and I just felt deflated.
That's how it be.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's not
you
it.
think your jam coming on, and then it'd be like, wait,
right? Because I was ready. Look, all the lyrics coming up. Like think about like a cartoon. Like all the words was like, it's ready, it's coming out, and it didn't happen. And for me, hip hop was that exact moment. That moment where it takes you back to a time when you were listening to it, or a party where you're listening to it, or a group of friends you were hanging with when you're listening to it. Again, I just think that for me, the love I have for hip hop, it can't be duplicated. That's me.
And I'm listening to you ladies, and hip hop, when it came out and became more popular, first of all, they said that it was going to be a trend. Mm-hmm. So miscommunication. I'm so with you when you speak of the fact that, and I'm gonna call hip hop she. I'm gonna take it because Scarface. Because Scarface, and I'm gonna give credit to him because he was the one that said this. But then I'm gonna go back and focus on my queens, which is Scarface said that hip hop is a bitch, and not a physical B, but the way that the industry, if you listen to this song, if you go back and listen to his lyrics, he's describing the industry, which is what the ladies describe too. It's fickle. 1 minute is hot, 1 minute is cold, 1 minute is seeming like it's cool, and everything is love, and then all of a sudden it's like pow. So I'm gonna call hip hop a female, okay? But with that being said, she has evolved in order to meet the needs or the vibe or the culture of the audience that is geared to now, right?
Yeah.
But I will say this, for me, hip hop has changed, yes, from the storytelling perspective, but also from the awareness. Ladies, when back in the day, and miscommunication, you spoke to this.
Mm-hmm.
It had a message. It was inspiring us to be greater. It was bringing awareness to different social injustices.
Come on, self-destruction.
Yes.
Self-destruction.
That was literally we are the world for hip hop. Like that was
It
that was
was.
the situation.
Right.
It
You're
was.
right.
And so for me, hip hop has lost its consciousness. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we keep talking, when we as a people, because it's our word, when we say I'm woke, we woke. No, loves. I don't know if all of us are woke because our young people don't have that our majority of our young people, I don't believe, have that civic consciousness. They don't have what they say. They don't have
That's right.
They're rapping, right? They don't have that awareness of, even in some cases, who they are as a race, as a ethnicity, as I'm getting my money. You know what I'm saying?
So here's the thing, though, because
It was like how
I don't want to cut you
people
off.
in
I
the
don't want to cut you off,
60s
but I want to
march.
say
I'm
this.
sorry.
I want to say this. That there is hip hop that still is like that.
Absolutely.
But the problem
I
is the commercial and the monetization of that hip hop
is the driver.
not there.
Right.
So they don't see it the way, like take for instance, I'm telling you, like let me, like, not to go, not to go off topic, but you got to think about it. Lauryn Hill.
Woo. Yep.
Miss Lauryn Hill.
She got
won
another concert.
5 Grammys
she
for
did.
her debut album.
That's the only album she did.
Only album.
That only album. But guess what?
And got a whole nother tour again.
But guess what? If you put that on, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill today,
right now,
it's still relevant. Because let me tell you something. I feel as though, okay, there's certain artists, whether it be hip hop or not hip hop or whatever, artists, that when you put that thing on, it's going to do something to your soul.
Just like when Biggie's song come on. Boom.
I say this.
I
say this, and I whatever you want to, however we want to, say it or whatever, I'll be the first one to say it. When you think about storytelling, when you think about, the fact that it still resonates today, it reminds me of Legends, of Bob Marley's Legends album. I put that on today, and it still does the same thing. That man died. Right. That man was only 38 years old. 38 years old when he passed away, and he's still to this day, it's still influencing culture. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like when you are not a flash in the pan, when you are the real deal, when you are what the people like, even if you're not what the people want, but you are what the people need, if you do not, you will always be relevant. The problem is people are not looking for relevancy as much as they're looking for clicks, likes, and the dollar. So if you're looking for those 3 things and that's all you're looking for, yes, you're going to get songs about booty hole being brown. Yes, you are going to do that. Yes,
right. They have more significant topics to, talk about, things to focus on back then, I think.
Yeah.
Because we were in the struggle. Think about it. We were in the struggle.
A musical version of marches. That's what it was. It's a musical version. Like, we having issues with the cops. Let's make a song about it. We're having issues with coming together. So it was a musical version. Like,
it was a way of communication. Y'all, like, back to the slave days when they were singing and like they got hidden messages in the songs. Like we talking about, we talking about that type of thing.
If you think about it, all right, so he's not the only one, but Martin Luther King and stuff, like, all right, we're gonna meet downtown and we're gonna walk, we're gonna march it out. When hip hop came around, it was like, like Public Enemy is like, we're going to talk about the injustices that are happening because we're going to pull people in. They're not going to turn on the water hose on us. We're going to play it on the radio. We're going to do it underground. right? And there was a pride that came with hip hop because it was
It
like, we
was.
the people, this
Created
is our sound, this is our thing. You're not gonna shut us down. You're
Right.
gonna vibe to the music. Now, I'm not saying that when music comes on now we don't vibe to it, but I feel, and I'm just gonna put down me, I feel
Mhm.
there's less of a pride with it.
There's a less of a soul. I know what you mean. It's like
Less
there's
of a
like no
soul. That's
soul.
it.
Like in
Yes.
other words, like so it's empty, it's vacant, there's nothing in there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and that's the thing. It's like that's why I love 90s R&B. I love 90s hip
Yeah.
hop, right?
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
no you can't like 90s like
prime.
90s hip hop is like getting a big hug from me. Like
Yeah,
when I get
Aw.
like when I think of when I
that's
listen to
prime
it,
time for music though, y'all. Like if you think about it, in our generation, that was, we came up in the best era. Like that, you know what I mean? Like they
We
won't
did.
ever be
Yeah.
able to experience it the way that we did with them cassette tapes and with the pencil and rolling back the
Well,
That's
and waiting
right.
for the
girl.
song to come
Like
on the
I
radio
mean,
and
I just
Yeah.
it's so much nostalgia for me. Like that
Yeah.
unfortunately, I feel like they're not getting in this new age, and that's unfortunate for them. But like
well,
we
our
see the
culture
transition.
now, yeah, our culture now doesn't have heart.
I
And
mean,
that's
think
what
Yeah,
about
it
it.
is.
Think
problem.
about it. Our children. Think about it. Our children. Like when I sit down, I press play about stuff that I did in my high school years and everything like
Uh-huh.
that. I have things like Junior Mafia. I have things like Terror Squad. I have things like you know what I'm saying. I have things like Flip Mode. I have things like that. Right.
Mhm.
My child is gonna have the booty hole brown and whatever the hell. It's like, it is
But
what it
here's the
is, you
thing.
know?
My children shall not. I play 90s, 80s in here.
Right?
Like
No,
crazy.
But there are, and I'm so glad, I was so glad to see them highlight Rhapsody. If y'all have never listened to Rhapsody, baby,
Fire.
she is. And to me, she is the female version of Kendrick.
Yeah.
Yes.
She
What's
really
the
is.
comparison?
Yes, no, see, if you listen to her, if you listen to her lyric, when we're talking about women being storytellers, when we talk about women inspiring and bringing about attention um, to social injustices and think like all this stuff we're talking about right now, she embodies it
Yeah.
and kills it.
But the reason
Um,
why people don't
With
know
no
too much about
apology.
her is because she's not the other ones. But let me just say
that's
this.
She
it. Go
don't have
ahead.
no booty clapping when she
But let me
talks.
just say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say
Go ahead.
this.
Go ahead, baby.
One thing for certain and two things for sure.
Hmm.
These younger rap chicks, I'm not mad at them
I ain't
as much
mad
as
at him.
I'm not mad at them at all. Let me tell you something right now. Cardi B. Let's talk about her for 2 seconds,
New
and then we
York.
can go to somebody else. Cardi B did one thing that a lot of people don't do, which is take their platform and use it to affect change. When you
Yes.
can sit there during the election and have conversations with people who you are not invited to sit in the room with, hip hop. One thing hip hop did and has done is that you actually have moments where hip hop is in the White House. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
the first time that like really, and I mean like really in the White House. Obama said, "I'm leaving." So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna have a little party, and we're gonna have all these people come here, and we're gonna turn it out. And
Because
it's
it's
the
a
Cardi.
part of your world.
Listen, it's the Cardi
Right.
B's, and it's the Meg Stallions, and it's the Nicki Minaj's, and it's the Ice Spice. Those young ladies. No, we might not we may not agree with them, but I mean, at the end of the day, think about it. Trina, you don't know that hoe.
Let's
With
not forget
him,
Trina.
Trina, you ain't say nothing about.
we
We ain't say
heard
nothing about. Listen, we ain't say nothing about Lil Kim.
and then
I
we heard
used to be
We
scared
ain't
of
say
the
nothing. Right. We didn't say nothing about Foxy Brown, and not for nothing else,
yeah,
but
but
not.
but see, okay, so I don't know when it happened, and I know it happened. Hip hop was unity and pride, and then all of a sudden became what do you call
Division.
that? Thank you.
Sexualized.
Division
y'all
and
remember
sex.
when it happened? That was the East Coast versus West Coast situation.
Yeah,
Y'all
that's what
remember
we started hip hop. Or we like I did, but we started hip hop to unify and to
We
have a
did.
voice,
We
and
did.
then it became. And this is my again. I'm gonna say it's my opinion.
Yes.
Someone put dollar bills on it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone lined it up with some non-melanated stuff, and it became weaponized against us. And now it became hip hop is attached to murder. Hip hop is
Yeah.
attached to violence.
That's
Hip
a
hop.
big one.
Why? That's not, first of all, that wasn't the intention. That's not what all these doorbusters intended. Oh, I'm a rap so that I have an excuse to kill. I feel like hip hop started and then someone started adding drugs, started adding guns. Because if you think about early hip hop, there wasn't any, I'm gonna shoot you up and your mama is a bitch. That
All we did was
wasn't
what you all we did was what you said earlier, which is that's why we didn't have issues with obesity. We didn't have issues with high cholesterol and all this stuff. You know why? Because the music was so infused in joy
yeah.
and a sense of belonging, and all we wanted to do
Yes.
was party and dance.
We
And
didn't
because
deal with that. I mean, now don't get me wrong. If a girl was busting a rhyme and she was cute, it was like, ding. But it wasn't like,
it
damn,
was
I'm
not
not listening to her
sexualized like
because
that.
that chick is so big. And then it just started. Yes, we had little Kim, little Kim started opening her legs, and Foxy Brown started talking about what we're
Il
gonna
Nana.
do
Yeah,
on
no, no,
Il
thank you.
Nana.
Nana was, wonderful. And so now I feel that a lot of the things we're fighting for in vain. Because now it's just like, okay, so what's the next Il Nana? What's the next person who used to be scared of it and now they're not scared of it? And I'm gonna shoot you up because that's my bitch. It's just
So, so
I
Pearl,
like that, but on the flip side, you gotta
Pearl,
think about that's how guys talk about it too. So I've
And
always
that's
thought
the
about like, oh,
point.
I'm
and
classic girl,
that's the
love
point.
is
And
that
that's the
vulgar
point.
because like men out here doing it too. So it's like it's good to hear, oh, okay, well women can speak like that too freely and like, so to me it was more of a positive connotation on like women can feel that way as well. Yeah,
Embracing your sexuality. Embracing
yeah,
your
like
but
sexuality.
it's
we're
not like
degrading ourselves in the process.
getting into
So
it.
so here's the thing, because they talked about this in like the third part of the series,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
which had to do and thank you, miscommunication, when you started bringing up flip mode and terror squad. What the ladies brought up was then it became a situation or a time when
You needed a
they
woman.
they needed a woman. They needed a face, a female face that was good, but she embodied the camp,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Listen,
And,
I
and
got the list right here. I got the list right here. Okay.
hold on one second, I'm gonna let you run it
Go
down
ahead. I'm
because
gonna run down that list for the people that at home.
because and I'm not saying that these guys did anything. What I'm saying is what I believe when Foxy, when Kim, and Remy didn't do this, but Lisa, I don't recall her doing it. But what I see is male influence in them and their careers from the standpoint of this is what I need you to do. So
Mhm.
even though they may have been writing their own lyrics, because all of them, spoke to that too, even though they may have been writing their own lyrics, I could hear that guy, somebody in the camp saying, hey, I need you to make this a little bit more sexy. And
Yes.
this is what I need you to do. And so from that standpoint, and I don't know, I'm just speculating, if that's where the whole trend of, because before those pioneers weren't in a clique, if you will. You know what I'm saying? They were their own body.
Mhm.
But then when we started having these cliques, if you will, I think that is when we started seeing some of the sexiness starting to take more of a
Because
precedent.
it sells. It sells.
Because
But
yeah,
here's the
but
thing,
go
though,
ahead.
because even with that, you think about it. We talk about clicks. I'm gonna go back to the clicks in a second, but we
No,
talk
you fine,
about.
baby.
Let's talk about Salt and Pepper.
Mm.
Push it,
I wasn't allowed to
push
do that dance
push
now.
it. Let me tell you something. Push it. That told that opened it up. When you sit there, you talk about let's talk about sex. They said that was literally let's talk about sex. Let's talk about that. What a man.
What
What
a
a
man.
man.
Yeah.
Wait, what a man kind of think about, and I remember this. What a man is when we started skating the line.
Well, no,
Because
listen.
they were implying.
But what I'm saying is that even shoot, what I'm trying to say is that
That's
with
what
all
it
of
is.
those things, there was women who were talking about it, but the visual was not overt, right?
Correct.
And
That's what
then
I'm saying.
They would
then
draw
Miss
the picture.
and then Kim then Kim came out with her whole JJ out,
All of
And
it.
let me just say this. Like I said, now back to tying it into the crew.
Yeah.
You had Junior Mafia with Kim. You got
Mhm.
Remy Ma with Terror Squad.
Mhm.
You got Foxy Brown with The Firm. People don't remember The Firm, but I do. The
I know.
I
Firm.
do too.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you had Rod Digger with Flip Mode Squad.
Yep.
And you had
Which she came out kind of tomboyish, and all of a sudden she was like, "Boop, here's my ass."
well, yeah, cha 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 cha, yeah, that part.
Mhm.
And then you had Eve with Rough Rider. Let me say something right now. Eve.
Wait, well, you forgot about Trina? What
No,
the
I didn't forget about that. But
Oh.
I'm just going. I just gotta get to Eve real quick.
Okay,
Speak on it.
go ahead.
Woo!
Yes, woo.
When listen, first of all, if people don't know, that Roots song, "You Got Me," that's her on the track.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah.
That's her.
Well,
When
you
she's
don't know that.
that's her young Eve, right? When the way her voice, right, Nicki and Young Money, it's that thing where you need that young lady to kind of like soften y'all up or whatever the case may be, right? But I'll just say this. When Eve, that pit bull in a skirt, as she called herself, Sweet Buttery Jesus, man. Sweet, but when that first Rough Riders album came out,
When her Eve album came out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you
like,
talking about just the Rough Riders with
Rough
her
Riders
and,
album.
right.
She had that one song. She had that song on there. When I tell you, listen, I remember when the album came out because I remember my friend had a car back then, and we got the album and we put it in because back in the day you didn't hear it before you got it. You got it and then you heard it, right?
You got it, you heard it.
Put it in, and that girl, what y'all just want, can't touch. I was like, it was just something. What? I'm telling you, I hope everybody has a moment after this show is over, after we finish with this show. Go dig in the crates. Go dig in the crates for a little while. Go pull you out some Latifah and some Missy. Thinking about it, Missy, first woman hip hop artist, one female hip hop artist to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And Missy was doing her own thing. She didn't care about how she looked. She was innovative.
She was an artist. Because she was an artist. She was a producer. She was a writer. She was a singer. She was all them things, right? And she has no. And she's
so happy to be chubby. I can't even tell you. Like when Missy came out, I was like, "Oh, let me see her hairstyle. I want to do that hairstyle."
She was a vision, like the visionary, right? The visionary of actual like that. But that's the thing. It's like we had visionaries that were not even artists.
Yeah.
You had visionaries that weren't artists. You had visionaries that actually had like they were all about that. They were all about the clothes and the clothing. How many stylists? And even in that show, even in the series, when the young lady said she heard Method Man's heard Method Man's interlude and turned it into a song with Mary J. Blige, and that song is a when I love that song. The ghetto classic. She said she read it and she was
that's like a ghetto wedding song.
This is the most beautiful thing in the world because she had never heard in the context that she heard it. To hear a man speak about a woman, shorty, I'm there for you anytime you need me.
Believe me, it's you in my world.
Woo! I mean, it was just that's love. That's a love song for the ages.
But the fact that she did not get credit for it, and me and my husband, when we watched this documentary, we kind of think we know who got credit for it, and I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna leave it alone. But I think I know who got the credit.
You got to do with a whole song.
Yeah, because that's what happens.
That's what happens.
We come up. We see a bigger picture. We see it. We hear it. We feel it. And then when we introduce it to our counterpart, especially if it's a male counterpart, they decide, okay, well, let's do this. And then when it comes to fruition, I did. Then he gets the credit, and you looking over there sideways like.
I mean, women deal with that every day now.
That's literally the nature of the beast nowadays, and that's the thing. It's like this, the beast of hip hop Because not for nothing, for not the reason why these young ladies are turning it out. I'm saying I listen. I may not love the music, but I love the hustle. I love the hustle. I love the I started here as a YouTube person, or I was on the Instagram or the Snapchat or whatever, TikTok or whatever, and now I actually have some sort of career. Now, how about longevity? Not sure, because not for nothing, for not, a lot of these artists don't get longevity. You get clout in the beginning, but you don't get longevity.
But it's only so much brown booty hole you can show.
Well, listen, there's only so many times you could talk about your booty hole in a song.
You only got one hole. I mean, what are we saying now?
If you're saying,
is it gonna turn pink or purple? Like, it's brown, it's a booty hole. Congratulations, everyone has.
I sing that song though, so I ain't gonna lie.
What you say, Tay?
So, like, whether or not you're saying something actually significant that'll last, that'll stand the test of time, you know, like a Lauryn Hill's Miseducation or something of that nature, you know, the things that we're talking about now. But yeah, a lot of this stuff not gonna last, because what are you talking about? How can I apply it for my life? How is it gonna help me, you know, and impact me in a positive way? It's not. You just talk.
But Tay, let's be real. Let's be all the way real. Let's be all the way real. Longevity is only happens with time, right? So if you're a flash in the pan, you're gonna go in, get it, and step away, right? You're not inspiring anybody to be better or anything like that. You know, at the end of the day, if my eyelashes touch my forehead and my titties is up high, and I'm gonna go get a BBL and I'm gonna dance it out, because that's what that's what it is right now. That's all there is, right?
Yeah.
The foremothers, you know, the mothers of hip hop, they listen. No one knows what it's going to be until it is, right? Mm-hmm. Is Cardi B gonna come out with another album? I don't know.
She better. First of all, that's my Libra twin. Okay, so
are you giving shout outs to Libra? It's not Libra season yet.
It doesn't matter. Shout out to Cardi.
That's funny. That baby said brown booty holes matter. I'm sorry that I holler. Go ahead.
They do.
Let's be clear. I believe in Cardi B, because again, Cardi B's hustle is different.
Yeah, but see, and I like her because, listen, I really did not know her on the TV and all that. I didn't know her before music. Mm-hmm. So my introduction to her was the music. And I was like, oh, this is high. Like, this is, and I didn't even know she was a whole reality star. So I still haven't watched that, but I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in what she got to say with her music, because to me, I can relate to a lot of it. I mean, not just being a Libra, but she got a lot to she got a lot to say.
Let me do a pause for you. Say, shout out to all the Libras. Ready for Libra season.
I love you. No. Shout out to Cardi. For real. Yeah.
No, but the WAP song that had us in a chokehold for a minute, because I was choked out with that song, boy.
Yeah. You was choked out.
I was choked out, and I loved it. I was like, yes. Who said that? Macaroni and pie. You think you got macaroni and pie?
Time. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, and to me, and we talked about this before, which is the fact that when women began to own their sexuality and begin to speak on sexual matters so freely, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know why, because I don't get it. I don't know why our male counterparts was like, oh, why they over there, you know, clutching their pearls, even though, you know, I'm just using that figure.
But they like it.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think it was, oh, so y'all gonna take that away from us. And where I'm going with that is because that they had been talking about it extensively.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, but in a way, they had the control, and
that's what I'm saying. And so when WAP came out, females, in this case, Megan and Cardi, said, "You know what? I'm gonna use my cell phone. You know what? I like this. Let me pow!" And they snatched it. And when they snatched it and owned it, again, I mean, and other songs were already out, but it became okay. And then all this outrage, but it was outrage because we have taken the power away. Because guess what? We could talk about it better than you can, because we know what we like. We know what our stuff is. I
think the power has also become a weakness. It is power, but it's also a weakness. That's me. Like, for example, we call people bitch like it's nothing now. Bitch, bitch, bitch. And I heard this quote that said women didn't become bitches till men became dogs. And so it's like we have some power, but in that power we've also gained a lot of weakness. We don't respect one another. We are publicly disrespecting one another. That's how I feel. Like we are publicly divided. Everyone could see that the black man and the black woman, even though there's WAP, are divided. I think that's the part. Like,
still not, the divorce rate is still what it is, baby. So
it's making money, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. If I go to a party and I hear the right beat, I don't even care what it's. I'm just
right.
but I'm bopping.
But it's the double standard.
Yes.
That's the part that's always been my issue with music in general and the double standard with hip hop. Hip hop has always been one of those places where a man can talk about a woman's sexuality, but a woman can't talk about her own sexuality. What's funny is that you very rarely hear women talk about. It might be a line or two, but it's not a whole song about your
yeah, about how big it is.
It's not a whole interlude. But it's
but penis doesn't sell.
Because penis doesn't sell. You're absolutely right. The thing that sells is the thing that I possess, and therefore, have
you not seen a woman? Women are beautiful from head to toe. Not to say a man isn't beautiful, but women are beautiful from head to toe. But people ain't showing up to see the penis; they showing up to see what the penis can get into. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what it is.
Listen, at the end, like one thing I said, I was thinking about when I was thinking about this topic was. I wonder, I've never heard anybody talk about issues with Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez and whatever. You never hear them talking about that. But at the end of the day, it's like this one thing about hip hop in general is it gives you a visceral reaction. There's visceralness in it. When a person hears our music, because this is our music, this is not music that we stole and we repackaged.
Yeah.
And it was another thing that was interesting is when you see a black woman on another woman. So in other words, when I got my hair braided and it might look ghetto or hood, but when Kim does it, it doesn't.
Oh yeah. And it's renamed and everything. Mm-hmm.
It's always, but see, it's the thing is to sanitize it, to watch Taylor Swift do a whole video where there is she got on the bamboo earrings and she got on Daisy Dukes and they twerking XYZ. It's fine when they do it, not fine when we do it. But here's the thing. Here's one thing that we should all be certain of. Hip hop is never going anywhere.
Nah.
It's gonna evolve. It's gonna change. We're gonna love it. We're gonna love it, or we're gonna hate it. But that's okay because at the end of the day, it was made for us by us, and it's always gonna belong to us.
Yeah.
I would hope that it returns to unifying us because
I hope so too.
We got enough shit dividing us. We don't need no more.
It will listen. As long as there's people out there making money on the division, it will always be like that. It will always be like that.
And for our younger generation, I'm with you, Pearl. I need the music to get back to a sense of now, a sense of who we are, because and we are more than weed. We are more than excuse me, they don't call it weed no more. We are more than gas. We are more than guns. We are more than booty holes and vajayjays. Like we, you know what I'm saying? Like we are so much more than our bodies, and our young people need to know this. Music, hip hop music back then inspired a whole generation to attend the HBCU. And I know some of us up here, I'm gonna shout out Elizabeth City State for my girlfriend down in the corner. But what I'm saying is it inspired a generation. Y'all ain't even understand it. It inspired a generation of young people. When we talk about those 90s and those late 80s, to go to a HBCU.
Absolutely. It unified us.
And now we see a lot of HBCUs enrollment decreasing because now people are going or feel like they need to go to a PWI. Let me tell you something, young people. If you
Uh-oh.
don't understand
Uh-oh.
that, no, I'm oh girl, I'm so on this right now because if you don't understand that, yes, there is that if you choose to go to a PWI, that's your prerogative. But there is excellence at HBCUs. There is greatness at HBCUs. And if you take the time and do your due diligence, look at the alum who have gone through these HBCUs. And I promise you, what they have done for the community, what they have done for the world is greater than what you will ever get from PWI. And you will also be getting back to uh, your sense of belonging within your own community. And you can do so much greater if you just allow yourself to swing back to the right. I ain't even gonna say to the left. I need you to swing
Right.
back to the right, which is with us, and get back to going back to our HBCUs because that's where it's at.
So
That's my
we're gonna need all these parents and everybody that got
y'all
these
better.
children out here. Take these kids take these kids out there, show them what it's about. We need to be more inclusive and helping our brothers and sisters out. Because
Yes,
not for nothing, for not the trend of what is gonna happen and it's trending, it's gonna happen. Because I know good and well my mother and father, when they used to hear me talking about Mob Deep and and all that stuff, and they hear that music, it was a problem for them. So obviously it's just it's just poor, par for the course.
yeah.
We are now the elders, and we are now the ones who
Woo.
have to impart the information to
Yeah.
the young ones and
That's
teach
right.
them right how we want them to go. At
Tell
the
it,
end of
Miss
the day,
Miss
hip
Rachel.
hop will always, like I said, hip hop is one of those things where it's not just the music, it's a culture. If you go back and you think about all the shows that were inspired by the culture.
Yeah, but there needs to
Martin,
be
you
a
got
product
Martin, and you
culture.
got Martin and Living Single, all these other shows that are now turning 30, and now like these shows are turning 30, which means they came 30 years ago, and whatever the case may be, 40
There
years
is
ago.
there is not a pride in the culture, period. And that's what is wrong. We are, as a people, and I've said this
Because
multiple
we
times,
gotten
are
away from it.
so powerful. We are so powerful. We are making impacts and changes, and we don't acknowledge it.
Pearl, we have to teach, but in
We
order
gotta
for them to
teach.
have the love that we have
You.
for our culture, we got to teach them.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
We
That's
got to
what I'm
teach
absolutely.
them
saying.
because they're not
But
going to learn it. They're not
but
going to learn on their own.
I agree because we didn't learn on our own either.
No,
But
we were in it when it began.
it's
Do you
just so
understand
much
what I mean? So
deeper.
it
It's
was
so much
just part
deeper.
of
Yeah.
it was
Oh no,
part
no.
of our
It's
thing. It was just part of our thing.
yeah.
We already have it, and they need to get to it.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, if you don't teach somebody to love themselves, if you don't, because it's taught behavior at this point.
Absolutely.
It's taught behavior at this point.
And right now it's lack of teaching.
It's 100%. If you don't teach somebody how to drive, you cannot expect them to drive a Mack truck.
But we do. We have a very hands-off, um, forget the village, mind my business
Yes,
mentality right now.
yes.
And you know what? I'm gonna stop here because we could go so much deeper.
All night long talking about this. This will turn into a completely different conversation.
I'm gonna stop. So we've reached our hour, and I have most certainly missed you ladies in depth. Like I missed you before, but I realized how much I missed you how much I missed you now. And to our experience family, we missed interacting and engaging with you. Thank you
Yes.
for all of the comments and input. We appreciate each and every one of them. There's not one comment that's more important than the other. So let me channel my brother, Mr. Chocolate. So if you have not subscribed, you're wrong. And if you have not joined the page, you're wrong. But join, subscribe, like, send us messages. Let us know what you want to hear. You can be a guest on the show. We'd love to hear your opinion because lots of you have very passionate thoughts that we'd love to unpack and address. So all that being said, thank you for joining the experience, where the experience is always good. Have a good one, guys.
Love
Bye.
y'all.
Bye.